Welcome back to the newspaper review. Yes, you have been watching newspaper review on High Impact Television. Our guest, Sheson Okwade, he's a business expert and a public affairs analyst, joins us virtually to have the conversation this morning. Good morning, Sheson Okwade, and thank you for joining us on the newspaper review.
Good morning, Duo, Esther, and Grace, and to all our listeners. First and foremost, let me congratulate us for launching back in a big and better way.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And to all our viewers, you are in for a bigger and better production from this wonderful crew.
Exactly,
Thank
that's
you
the
so
spirit.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'd like us to get into the conversation very quickly today. Let's start with the discos. This is your area of specialization, so it's no brainer. Discos backtrack on tariff hike. I beg your pardon. Discos backtrack on tariff hike. We were expecting the electricity tariff to go up just by July 1st next week, but they are backtracking on it to await the NERC approval. That's the regulatory commission, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, to give an approval. What difference will their approval make? Would it make things easier for us if we have to buy electricity next week?
Yeah, if I have to go by your question, this is a terrain that I'm always careful about because it's my field.
Yeah.
First and foremost, NEC happens to be our regulator, and there is nothing the DISCO or the TCN can do without their approval.
Okay.
While the privatization came on board 2013, one of the things that the federal government did was that the DISCO cannot raise the cost of electricity as what they actually intended to do then in 2013. And there was this introduction of MITO, which is the multi-year tariff order, saying that by annually, every six months, we will be adding just a little thing to the cost of electricity until we get to the stage where we can balance it out, where it will be more viable and interesting for the business owner. And that is what is supposed to be implemented come July 1st. But part of the things why everybody is showing so much concern is that this new administration has came with a lot of hard policy that is impacting on businesses and impacting on the citizen. And we feel that even though we know that the disco still needs survival, but this might not be the best timing, because there is one thing for you to provide the electricity, there is another thing for the consumer to be able to afford it. Otherwise, when they are not having it, they will kick off your network, and then you might see them venturing into alternative power supply. And don't forget, we have this 80-20 Pareto rule, which works in the power sector too. Majority of the people that give high money.
Tristan, can you hear us?
The big companies under MP. Yeah, so the truth of it is, if you hike the price and they are unable to sustain it, don't forget that they have the power to create alternative power supply, either by gas or by solar or greener energy. And when they get out of it, you discover that you and I that are paying stipend, they are not getting so much that is expected of them. We are not the bulk of people that makes their revenue. It is those high network industry of why we are actually saying they need to be sensitive at this point in time, considering every challenges that businesses are facing. I'm sure man has actually challenged this. The unification of dollar is not allowing everybody to smile. The cost of petroleum is not allowing them to smile.
Permit me to butt in here. Shesa, I'm sure you can hear me.
Yeah.
Permit me to butt in here. You talked about exchange rate now, and I know that prior to this time, the DISCOs said effectively from July 1st, 2023, they informed us that there will be an upward review to the electricity tariff influenced by the fluctuating exchange rate. I am wondering, I'm sure Nigerians are wondering, what's the correlation between the exchange rate and the electricity supply?
Yeah, the issue there is the cost of electricity is attached to market forces too. Majority of some of these investors are not local investors, and they need to recoup back their investment back to their base. We keep saying that we want situation where foreign direct investment can come into play into some of these major organizations. So you discover that some of the current owners of this company are not 100%. They are consortium, and you have foreign partners who are actually partner with you, and you expect them to recoup back some of the investment that they have actually put in place. So you discover that if they continue at the current rate that we have, you actually be affecting their returns back to their organization, even to recoup back the investment that they've actually given. That is a correlation why they are saying that with the current fluctuation in foreign exchange, the investors might have to change the position of things and look at how they can look for a way to recoup the investment some of them have actually put in time past. But we want situation where NEC will look at the affordability on the part. The government has not increased the cost, the take home of an average citizen.
That's
But
right.
the things are getting higher on the other side. The other thing you just see people do is you have more of losses in the area of people bypassing whether the meter or the energy. Serious energy theft will be on the other side, and they'll keep losing the track. So that's why we feel that NEC is actually looking at way to balance it so that the hardship will not be too much on the consumer and the company, so that you don't kill the company that are actually making payment for you, because when they are not there, then there is no reason for your existence.
Okay, before we move away from this conversation, I know Grace still has a question to ask as well. I just want to backtrack a bit on the electricity bill and find out how does this come into play in helping. You mentioned alternative power supplies, and with the recent electricity bill and the need for alternative power supplies, let's find out how this can even make electricity supply even much better.
Yeah, we have suggested that if we can go the route at which Germany did in terms of electricity reform, in such a way that some of the power or energy generated from alternative power supply find their way back to the national grid. That on its own will increase your generation. You discover that you can move beyond 2 houses. You must definitely see alternative power supply. Check the roof. I'm sure in your locality, your place is stationed around the big man area. You see between 1, 2, 3 houses, alternative power supply. So rather than you storing that supply in your own compartment, in your batteries and backup, we can look for a way to have a two-way communication of injecting it back into the system, at least the excess. During this, when you have the solar, you have the sun, and then they can leverage on that in sharing. So when you now have more supply, you see a situation where you force down the cost of that particular thing, because it will definitely outweigh the demand, which is what we are looking for. So the area we are concentrating on is how do we galvanize the alternative power supply to get back to the national grid in order for us to have more generation, and see how the TCN, who wield the power from generation to distribution, are able to increase their wheeling capacity, so that we can have more consumption and the capability to pay. And the final on that is more of metering on the part of the consumer, so that people can actually see the transparency that occurs. You see, it's a two-way thing. At times they can be giving you crazy bill. You call it crazy. When you go about and get a meter for yourself, you discover that you have actually been shortchanging the disco by not paying accurately. So you now say the meter is not working fine, it's running fast. No, it's your assumption. But now you have the something to monitor it. So they will need to invest more in metering in such a way to increase the transparency and the accountability of energy that is being used by consumers.
So you talked about, Esther asked you a question about alternative power supply, and I'm wondering, is Nigeria ready for this alternative power supply, and is it affordable? And if yes, what are the reasons? What are your reasons you claim that we are ready for this?
Yeah, we are ready for it, Esther. Fine, the cost may not really be that easy to come by, but I can tell you that there are several organizations that are venturing into it. Just last week, I received a call from someone who actually went into who purchased solar power, and the company offers them to pay for 1 year. So you get the product, and they install it for you. They have the 1 year warranty, and you make payment on weekly basis, which is, becoming what
That's
is obtainable
pretty
in the developed
good.
world.
Okay. That's attractive.
So you discover that yeah, of course. I was caught abased, but this was directly, to someone that's very close to me. And I said, that's the way to go. So you discover that if the alternative power supply is there, people will start disconnecting from the national grid. And if they don't take care, for generator, people are
Yeah.
already powering their generator with gas.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yes.
if you are aware of that.
Yes.
We're
Yeah,
Yes.
coming
so you
to that.
discover creativity is coming in place.
Okay.
And when creativity takes over, you discover that you are there in the business. If you don't manage it effectively, you will see yourself out of it. If people see the cost benefit of you using gas generator vis-a-vis you connecting to the national grid, I will tell you, practically, I've been off the grid in the last 26 days, and I've not felt the impact of the national grid. I'm on national TV. I've
what have
been
you
off
been
it for
using?
26 days.
What have you been using?
I've been using the alternative power supply.
Oh,
That is solar.
okay.
So every day I pray that, like this morning now, I'm smiling because the sunrise is very bright. So I'm very sure that I'm going to be sustained via this alternative power supply at night, because I'm going back to the office, and once I come back, because I've been recharged. So I don't for now need the national grid to survive. So by the time you see people venturing into this alternative supply, and businesses are looking at you paying installment, I'm sure maybe after the program, you see individuals saying, sorry, can we have access to that organization that is doing instrumental payment for installation of a solar, so that I can get off the grid and see how I manage my utilization myself. And before you know it, people will reduce their consumption in the aspect of power and continue on the alternative, which is the way to go. Greener environment, reducing the emission that we are currently facing with the use of a generator and those other diesel engine generators.
Thank you for ending on that path. Just about yesterday, there was news that the queues are back in the filling stations, and that there are changes in prices. And since we just came out of talking about electricity, if we don't have electricity, one of the alternative means we know is definitely diesel or petrol-powered generators, which also makes it difficult for people to buy fuel at the price that we're buying right now. But there's an update. Forex challenge driving petrol price towards 581 naira per liter. Where do we go from here, Sheson? Please go on.
Where to go from here?
Yeah.
I will use the thing that say, if you ask me, I will go ask. But the truth of the matter is, we expect this at the beginning of this unified foreign exchange, where we have we are looking for a way to balance the act. So if the cost of bringing in those products is are not affordable because of the hike in the foreign exchange, we discover the same. Where we need to go from here is, how soon can we have the Dangote refinery come on track for us to locally produce that particular thing and ease the pressure of importing those products.
Yeah, but the Dangote refinery, Sheson, let me butt in here. The Dangote refinery is a private refinery. And what I know about private businesses is that they want to make money.
Profits.
It's built for profits. Do you think that the Dangote refinery would make us buy fuel for 300 naira per liter? Maybe. Do you think so?
We understand that it's a private company. But don't forget that we Nigerians, we have stake in it. Federal government bought into that particular stake.
But our stake is pretty low. The percentage of our stake can't be compared. Are you aware?
20%?
Yes.
20%?
Yes.
It's not low. I'm sure you know it's not only Dangote that owns that. There are other investors in that particular thing. And I can tell you from finance perspective that of that magnitude of things that you say, 20% is not a small stake. But take it or leave it, even though it's a private investment, one thing you should be aware of is that if you are producing it locally, the cost of freight of bringing those commodities down to the country will definitely be out of it. So just imagine if you are able to get that particular thing, we are not going to talk at the prevailing foreign rates that will be selling to Dangote. As a matter of fact, I'm the producer of some of those things. If I have excess in my OPEC quota, and I know that that is already a waste, what stops me as a part of the owner of the company to say, I'm giving you this raw material to produce for my family? Who are your family? My citizen. Because that is the essence of our investing in you. So the excess of our OPEC quota can actually be given to Dangote at a minimal cost, and the only thing we'll be paying for might be the cost of processing, which on the long run will reduce the cost. Esther and Grace, I can tell you for free that if we remove the cost of freight of bringing those things, let's just say we even remove 5 naira on everything that we are bringing back into the country, multiply it by our daily consumption in a week, in a month. That's enough savings on its own that can be used to be invested in growing that businesses. So what we are saying is that let's see how we bring on stream the commercial operation of Dangote refinery. The Nigerian-owned refinery will be made to understand that Port Harcourt and Warri should come up on stream by December. How can we, once we are able to have the local production within the country, definitely it will force down the price of that particular product, and the Nigerian can be better for it. But I can tell you, the stake in Dangote is not small. 20% in that big conglomerate is huge as a country.
So I have one last question for you before I let you go. It's about this unified foreign exchange, right? What are the benefits? Because we know that the naira to a dollar is now 700 at some point, before 500. It's fluctuated. What are the benefits? Where is this going to give us? What's the end point?
Yeah, one of the benefits is just what you have mentioned, the fluctuation. And what brings about the fluctuation? The forces of demand and supply. You see, the unified rate, what it's going to do, and removing the cap at which we have it currently, is that when you carry out international transaction, what you try to do is to already put that fund at the prevailing market rate, so that you not get, you are doing a business today and they are telling you that dollar is selling for 700. You quickly push it into the system. And when we have cumulative of those supply into the system, what it does is that if there is no demand, it will force the cost down for you in such a way that when you that just bought it at 700, just sold at 700, need that same currency, because we now have so much supply of the currency in circulation. You might be buying it at the rate of 500 when you will need it in the next 2 weeks. You see, for an average businessman, now speculation is the order of the day. It might be a bit tight. So you see somebody just concluding a business transaction, willing to sell the higher cost, and the other man is patiently waiting that let's see more other people that have actually done business transaction, bring this into the area, and when you have more supply, it will force it down. But at the beginning, everybody will want to cash out. That's just what will happen.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Sheso. Can you hear me? Thank you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you made your point. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us this morning. We are grateful. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'm very elated, very happy to see our impact back on track, and we'll continue to give our viewers the best that is expected of them. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.